Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Today, I have a legend in my midst. But first, let's get a little nostalgic, shall we? Whole world is celebrating. Whole world is celebrating night. Yes, the whole world is celebrating. Today is Friday, June 30th. We're just a few days away from Independence Day. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Well, let's see. Today, I will be talking to the legendary character actress, Rutanya Alda. She has been in some of the greatest movies ever made. Panic in Needle Park, The Long Goodbye, Rocky II, Mommy Dearest, but she's also been in a lot of great horror movies as well. Amityville Horror 2 is probably her most well-known. She also did Girls' Night Out, When a Stranger Calls, Apprentice to Murder. I mean, she's been in a lot of great horror films and just films in general. And she was an absolute sweet lady, taking the time to talk all the way from New York. She was really awesome and radical. And so, this is my interview with her. I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, Rutanya. How are you?
I'm good, Harry. How are you?
I'm great. Oh my God, this is like such a big thrill for me because you're like one of the quintessential character actresses of all time.
Well, thank you, Tommy. It's like, that's quite a compliment. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. I remember the first time I saw you when I was a little boy. It was in the Mario Van Peebles movie, Rappin'.
Yeah. I actually rapped.
Yeah, you didn't. Right, the other one. You looked like you had a fun time in the courtroom scene at the end. You had the big old smile on your face.
Yeah. I had fun. We had fun making that movie. We filmed it in Pennsylvania, a small town.
Yeah.
So it was done at a low budget, but it was like, I think it was one of Mario's first starring films.
Yeah. It was his first lead. He did a couple smaller parts before that, but that was like his first lead.
Yeah, it was. And so we were all kind of in this little small town. So it was nice. It was a nice group of people that actually looked like they lived in that town and kind of a low income thing. So we all shopped in thrift stores and got our wardrobe at thrift stores. So we would, kind of have to dress as the community, so to speak. So we had fun.
Yeah.
One of the young actresses that played my daughter was shocked when she said, "You don't shop in thrift stores, do you?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I shop all the time in thrift stores. That's a great place to find stuff." So that was kind of an awakening moment for her. I guess she thought all actors shopped in Saks Fifth Avenue or something, So it was cute because she was kind of surprised.
Have you seen her since?
No. Really, unfortunately, people don't keep in touch. It's one of those things, you have these intense moments and, for a short time, and then usually your lives don't cross again. I mean, it's kind of, you have that intensity, but then it's over. I think it's a hard part of acting because you grow close to people and then you don't see them again. Maybe you see them again, but it's years later usually. So, but she's all grown up now, and who knows what she's doing, you know.
Yeah.
Life changes very fast.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
Yeah, it is, but the way it goes, change is the one constancy in life. And one constant in life, I think, is the only thing that's really constant is the change. So it's part of it. We go on, but it's part of it. Kind of is. It's part of the acting process that you meet wonderful people, and they're in your life, and then they leave your life, and that's the part of it. That's part of the acting, being an actor. And then you look at them fondly, you remember them fondly, and then if you run into them, it's like you just saw them the other day, because you know that's it, and that's a nice feeling.
Yeah, and you've been in some of the greatest movies ever made. I mean, Panic in Needle Park, The Long Goodbye, Mommy Dearest. But your first real horror movie was Brian De Palma's The Fury.
Yes, that was my first one. Right.
What was that like?
It's funny because I didn't think of it as a horror movie, although it is kind of. It's out there, you know. It's kind of, what happens to this young girl. It is kind of horrific. But when I made it, I didn't think of it as a horror movie.
What did you see it as?
I just thought of it as a story of what happened to this person, and so basically that was it. That's how I saw it. But I didn't think of it that way. But then it became that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a powerhouse cast. Amy Irving, Kirk Douglas, John Cassavetes, Carrie Snodgrass, Charles Durning, Andrew Stevens. I mean, that is a cast you can't get nowadays.
Yeah, they were wonderful actors, all of them, really. Just terrific people.
Think they're good to work with?
Yeah, I mean, I love working with Brian De Palma. I mean, I did 4 movies with him, so all the early films really, and he was just, when you made the movies in the 70s and the 80s, it was a different experience. It was like people were. It was a time of these new directors that came in and the stories, and I don't know if that age will ever come again. People were taking chances on younger directors and stories, and without them. Now it's the age of the blockbuster.
Yeah.
And so those movies were all made in the 70s and the 80s, the late 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
That was a special era and a special time of getting actors together that wanted to do things and wanted to make movies and different kinds of movies, and so it was kind of a really wonderful time to work in film. Really, very different than today, I think.
Oh yeah. Back then, there was such a camaraderie among directors, producers, actors, and writers.
That was the time when the director actually saw you for an audition. There was a time, now directors are never there. You videotape, you're videotaped, and very rarely when a director appears to talk to you or guide you or ask you to do it a certain way or this way or that way. But in that era, it was the directors were there, and a lot of times Brian, after the first time working with him, he just cast me. He didn't even audition me, so he just knew what I could do and fit me in and do that. So, but now I don't. It doesn't happen that way. Directors are not that involved with the actors. I think they were much more involved before.
Yeah,
that's a loss. We've lost something there. We've just lost it with the relationship with actors and directors. I hope it comes back. I mean, it's a wonderful thing when you collaborate and you can have fun with, and and the director trusts you, and you can work with them. And I think I miss that a lot. I really miss it. It was director's venue too. The director was the auteur, I think, back there, and they created stuff, and the studio allowed it, and I don't think that happens too much now.
Yeah. And
So that's what I mean about change. It's like, I think some of the best and most innovative movies came from the late 60s, 70s, and the 80s. I think those movies are actually having a kind of a resurgence in certain parts of certain theaters, and they're shown. I mean, I know in New York, the smaller theaters are having showings of these films. And even, I did a movie called Vigilante in the 80s, which is a really gritty New York story, and they showed it at Brooklyn Academy of Music Band a couple of years ago, and I went as a guest, and I thought, wow, I haven't seen this movie since the 80s. What is it going to? And it really held up. It was really genuinely a New York movie shot on location in Brooklyn and Queens and New York, and with a real gritty story, and so that was from that era, you know.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see that it held up really beautifully, I thought. And then they showed it at NAMM, of all places. And like, they do all these artistic things there, and all of a sudden, here we were at NAMM, you know, so, we weren't Shakespeare, but we were nice, and it was a really well-done movie, much better than I remember it, so, yeah.
And then you did the underrated classic, When a Stranger Calls.
When a Stranger Calls, it really, you know, Fred Walsh, too bad he doesn't direct anymore. He kind of wrote that story, and it was his baby, and so it was made for, I think, under $1 million, close to $1 million.
Yeah.
So, and you know, at that time, it was, and it's still, people still get terrified by that movie. People say, oh my God, you know, I can't the phone call and the whole thing. So, I mean, I thought he did a great job with that film. I thought that film was really scary.
Yeah, he did a similar movie about 15 years later for Showtime called Dead Air with Gregory Hines, and it was very similar. You know, he plays a radio DJ who's getting calls that are very creepy like that, you know.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't seen that one. So,
it's great. It should be remade. It's great. Yeah.
But he very sweet guy, young guy at the time, and he had been When a Stranger Calls. He had been doing that for a while, working on that script for a while. If I remember correctly, he had made a short film of it, and then he showed it to the studios to get it financed, and one of the studios went for it because as long as he kept it $1 million under, they did it for that. So, and it made very good money for the time, because it was you know, when they're scary movies are really good, I think they get a following.
Yeah. When they're done just right, they have to get a following.
Yeah.
You know. And Carol Kane, well, a lot of people don't realize what a good dramatic actor she is, because she does comedy, and she's hilarious when she does comedy.
Yeah, she did a wonderful job in that movie, so I think her performance really stands up and stands out, so, yeah. He cut some things out of that movie, but, you know, you have to just make it tight or make it flow, and sometimes even good scenes don't work, so he did trim it a little bit, Brad did.
Yeah. And then you did Christmas Evil, which is a very bizarre movie.
You know, I've never seen it.
Really?
I've never seen Christmas Evil. I just remember we were on ice and I fell and hit my head really hard. That's why I don't remember it. I think I had a little concussion. But I know it shows around a Yeah, probably the same.
Was it a Canadian production?
I don't remember, to tell you the truth. I don't remember too much about that film, so I don't know what production, who was behind that production.
Yeah.
You may know more about it than I do.
There's very little written about it on IMDb.
Yeah, I wonder why. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. I wonder why it's so little written about it. Did the director ever do anything else? See, you probably know more about this than I do. Did the director ever do anything else about it? Did he direct anything else?
Let me take a look here.
I'm just curious. I can look it up myself later. I just was curious because I never haven't thought about that movie in a long time.
Okay. The reason I asked if it was made in Canada because I know Black Christmas was, and they have actual snow out there.
Oh, well, there was snow here in New York when we shot it. It was winter. It was cold. That's why I said I slipped on some really hard ice there, and I really fell and hit my head really hard. So, I mean, they shot it in the middle of winter in New York. But you're right. A lot of films, if they're not shot in the winter, and you never know when you have snow. But it was a really cold winter that winter, and we had a lot of snow and ice. But if they would have shot it, maybe not, earlier than they probably would have taken a Canadian location. But now, now it's different too. Canadian companies used to come in just here now. Now production is going up to Canada to shoot, so it's really back and forth. So if I were doing a winter scene, I would go to Canada.
Yeah.
You never know.
Hold on. And then you did one of my personal favorites, Girls' Night Out.
Oh yeah, I did Girls' Night Out. I remember that one. Tommy, we shot that on a weekend.
On a
Nobody
weekend?
slept. And we were all awake for the whole weekend. It was like, people did grab, cat naps in the wardrobe room and dressing rooms on the floor or something. Or they found a little couch or a chair. We shot that at some location not far from New York, like an hour from here, some little town, where they got they found the gym and the school, kind of a closed down school or something.
Yeah.
And but we shot that in one, I think Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we were done. They had to shoot on a weekend and so it was basically one take on everything. And of course, they still owe me money. They never paid me.
Really? Wow.
They still owe me money on that movie.
Did you ever tell the Screen Actors Guild?
Oh yeah, I've been trying to collect from even Screen Actors Guild can't collect. There's a couple of movies that people owe me money on. A whole bunch of movies, and they just don't have a good percentage of collecting from these people. Unfortunately, maybe it's changed now. Maybe it's better.
Yeah.
That they, but when that happened, it was just I have to laugh about it. No, it'd be nice if they had paid the actors. I don't know who else got stiffed. Not Hal Holbrook. I'm sure they paid him.
Oh yeah, his scenes were shot separate.
I'm sorry?
His scenes were shot separate.
Well, his scene and my scene, the big scenes, we did work together.
Oh.
It was shot 2 or 3 hours or something. Hal came in for the weekend. They didn't put him up at a hotel. I think he was the only one who's put up at a hotel or a motel. The rest of us weren't. We really actually were sleeping on chairs and stuff and just nudging people. Would get nudging you up next. It was one of those things. But Hal came in. He came in from his hotel. And he did. I other ones were shot, but the one with me and him, we did work together. We did do one take. I focused on me and then focused his close up and my close up, and then I think the master shot. It was finished in probably less than an hour and a half.
Wow. Yeah, that last shot of you is just bone chillingly creepy, I have to say.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, they found their old refrigerator, and they wheel me in and wheel me out, and I'm there with both of me, the twins. The twins are there in one place, and that was done in basically one or two takes. I mean, I don't think that movie ever had really more than one take. Occasionally, maybe two takes on things. So it was all kind of was one of those things where nobody slept.
Wow.
Except for Hal. Homer slept. It was fun, you know. He deserved it. He was there, you know. He flew in for that. And so his son was one of the actors in it. I think he did it as a favor.
Oh.
His son who has now become a psychiatrist. And his son out of the business. So he came in, I think, to help out the fact that they had his son. He did it as a favor.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then you did Amityville Horror 2, which is my favorite of the trilogy.
Thank you. You know what? I think it is the best one because we really had a good director, and I think it makes a big difference. We had this Italian man come in, Damiani, who did some marvelous Italian films, and of course, Dino De Laurentiis knew his work from the Italian films. He did some great Italian films, and so his take on it was that we did stuff for real. I mean, we weren't just. We were really dysfunctional family that was having trouble, and the possession of what was happening with the son, and even the father made everything worse, and we just kind of slid downhill from there. But Damiano took a psychological approach to this film, which he wanted it really to affect the psyche of the viewer. And I think that's why it's so powerful. He just didn't do it to, do the scary stuff, He really tried to go underneath what was happening to these people, to this family. And I think that's one of the reasons is that he succeeded, because you kind of it gets inside your head and psychologically, and I think that's where the real terror is.
Absolutely, I agree. And Diane, she was my first interview on the show, and she's an absolute sweetheart. I met her a couple weeks ago for the first time.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, really, honestly, she's just a lovely person and such a sweetheart. But everybody in the cast, I loved everybody in that cast. Everybody was just...
Kurt Young, James Olsen.
Yeah, I mean, they're great guys. Sometimes you have a cast and people have a camaraderie that to do the best they can with each other. So there's no big egos like, it's about me and the star of the film. No, it was about telling the story as well as we could. And Damiano was the one that shaped it. So we shot most 99% of it, or 95% of it. We shot in Mexico City on location at the Churubusco Studios. I don't know if Diane told you. But the only part we shot in New York was the exterior of the house. And when we arrived at, in the car and everything, the exterior of that house was shot in Toms River, New Jersey. And so from there, we moved to Mexico City at the Churubusco Studios. It's a huge studio. And they had one whole stage, which is enormous. It's like a little football field. They had actually built the interior of the house inside this studio, and so when you entered, you felt like you were in the house. Actually, you had the downstairs living room, you had the upstairs bedrooms, and you had the where you didn't go in the basement, but part of the house was made as a basement. And so they did a marvelous job in building this interior house where most of it takes place. And when James Olsen and the other priests go camping, they do it in somewhere outside of Mexico City, somewhere. They went for a day, but otherwise, almost all of it was shot on set, on stage there.
Nice. Yeah, it's very believable, I have to say. And then you had a small part in Larry Cohen's The Stuff.
Well, I had a part in Larry Cohen's The Stuff, but I'm not really in it. I think I've cut out of it. I played the psychiatrist, and people say, "Well, I never saw it, by the way, so I don't know." But somebody said, "I saw the movie and I didn't see you in it," and I said, "It's probably because I was cut out." Now, why they listed my name, I don't know. Sometimes they do that for some reason, but had I known I wasn't in it, I probably would have taken my name off it. But I'm pretty sure I'm not in it, although I've never seen it. Larry Cohen was on the day that I shot on that set.
Yeah.
I have no memory of him except that he screamed all day long. Screamed at all the actors. Oh my God. He was screaming at some of the actors because they were forgetting their lines. And I thought, well, we're forgetting our lines because they're screaming at us. I mean, how can you remember lines if somebody's screaming at you? So I don't know if he had a bad day that day. I don't know what's happening. But all I remember is, oh my God, I hope I can remember my lines, because the more he screams, the more I'm forgetting my lines. So,
oh my God,
one of these days I have to watch the movie. I never watched it, but I don't think I'm in it.
Yeah, no, I never seen you in it. That's why I had to ask. Yeah. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to be meeting him pretty soon. Wow.
Who are you meeting him, sorry?
Larry Cohen.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm going to a convention soon to meet him.
Well, he's done some wonderful movies. I mean, I think I got him on a bad day. I don't know what was happening in his life that day, but...
He's a brilliant writer.
I'm screaming. I don't know.
Yeah.
He won't remember, I'm sure. He's done a lot of other things. I remember because it's the only director I ever worked with that screamed all day. Nobody else. He stands out in my mind because he screamed. Usually, directors may have a bad day, but they're not screaming at the actors, so I don't know. I mean, Michael Cimino handled it beautifully when he had a lot of pressure. The studio, and they came down. This was in The Deer Hunter, which was a wonderful experience for me. I loved everybody on that show, and I loved Michael. But Michael never screamed at his actors. He was like, he had pressure from the studio, but when he came on the set, it was like he loved his actors, so he never took it out on us, which was nice, because I knew that the movie was under a lot of pressure from the studio, because we were a little bit over budget. I mean, time-wise, but not much, really, honestly, because a lot of the locations were just rough to do. So that's why. Everybody worked very hard. We worked long hours. So it was just, time-wise, that's the way it was.
Wow. Rutanya, do you have anything that you'd like to plug?
Oh, well, I wrote a book called The Mommy Dearest Diary.
A good book, by the way.
A diary I kept while I was making Mommy Dearest. I played Carol Ann, her secretary companion. The only one that ages in the movie is Carol Ann. And so I kept a diary of this thing that never intended to publish it, but we never knew that Mommy Dearest had become this great cult classic of our time. And so, because of that, I realized that there was people were really interested in this movie. So I have a book called The Mommy Dearest Diary, which is my day-to-day diary of being on that film for 4 months. But also the first part of the diary is not about Mommy Dearest. The first chapter is really about my life, the films, working with Robert Alma, working with De Palma, working with Sam Peckinpah.
Yeah.
So the first chapter of the book is really about my early career working with these people and my take on my experience on working with these wonderful directors. And so I go through a lot of the movies, like go through Pat Garrett being a kid, which I was in, and what it was like working with Bob Dylan, and what it was like working with Altman and Brian De Palma and some of the other directors. And then the second chapter starts how I got cast in Mommy Dearest, how it came that I got cast, and when I flew out on January 1st to stay in the fabulous Chateau Marmont where they put me up performance, and then the day-to-day happenings, including that I thought the film wouldn't happen after the first week when they held up the set because she wanted her boyfriend to get producing credit because they had nothing to do with the movie. But she went. So for a while we thought the movie wouldn't happen because Frank DeBlanc, who had been the former president of Paramount Studios, made lots of movies, did not want to be blackmailed by Miss Dunaway. But because so much had already been invested in the movie, like these fantastic sets and handmade costumes for her and everything, that he decided to give in, and so that's why Terry O'Neill has his credit on that movie. But that didn't happen. So I journal that, and I journal, a lot of it is the behind the scenes stuff, people you work with, like the hairdresser Vivian Walker and the makeup man Charlie Schwam had both worked with Joan Crawford extensively, and their take on Miss Dunaway, and also the stories behind, like Charlie Schwam's take on when he had to make up for dead Judy Garland, and when he had such trouble with her makeup. So I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting book about the film world and what happens on a day-to-day basis in making movies. And it's great for the public to realize that a lot of the response I've gotten from Amazon, it's available on Amazon.com, so you can read the reviews from people that have read it, is that they didn't realize that was what happened in making of a film, and also it's film history is what it is. If anybody's interested in film, it would be fascinated, I think, with my book.
Absolutely. Rutanya, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Tommy. That was very sweet of you, and I really appreciate your talking to me, too.
Thank you so much. I'll send you the link when I'm finished, and have a great day.
Oh, thank you. You too. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. Rutanya Alda. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Rutanya. That was so awesome and totally radical. By the way, I wanted to mention to the people who are watching this podcast right now, there was an internet rumor this week that Clint Eastwood died. And I just want to say right now, that was a hoax. Clint Eastwood is alive and well. Punk. Anyways, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. I'm your host, Tommy Throwback Kovac. And until next time, there is no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. And remember, we can't stop. We won't stop. Climbing that river till we hit the top. We won't stop.